right, aloha. My name is Ben Kaneaiakala, and again, thank you for joining me and for following us on our YouTube channel at Phoenix Rising Addiction Center. Um, I've been requested to. I had done a share about a week or so ago on probably one of the most untalked about or undiscussed questions that are asked of us in recovery or any 12-step program that you go to. If you use the 12 and 12 or the 12 steps and 12 traditions book of Alcoholics Anonymous, there is a the book opens up with asking us a question. So the first step in dealing with any kind of addiction or struggle or anxiety or depression or eating disorder, gambling, whatever it might be, the addiction of the thinking and what it's tied to, in the 12 and 12, it asks us one question. So I'm going to break this up into two parts, a two-part video on who cares to admit complete defeat. That is the first question that they ask us when you come into a program and you open up the book to the first step. Besides it saying what step one is, that we admitted that we're powerless over our thinking and that our lives have become unmanageable, they ask us one very important question, and that is, who cares to admit complete defeat? And for most of us coming into the program, we think that it's a question that is asking me, who cares to admit complete defeat? I think that it's me that it's asking me the question. And yes, we have to make that admission of complete defeat. That who cares to admit complete defeat? I need to admit complete defeat. That whatever the problem might be, whether it's alcoholism, drug addiction, eating disorder, anxiety and stress, depression, being overwhelmed, whatever the problem might be. And that's why I say that we admitted that we were powerless over our thinking and our behaviors have become unmanageable. Because our behaviors don't just act on itself. Our behaviors, external behaviors of what we do, what we say, come from our thinking. So when we admit that I'm powerless over my thinking, that I am the slave to or I am in control of my thinking, I have to then recognize that my behaviors as a result of that way of thinking is unmanageable. So I know it's very broad and it covers a wide range of topics or discussions or problems or whatever it might be. We have to get to that place of acknowledging and admitting to myself, to my God, if I have one, and to another human being, that the way that I think about things, that I'm powerless over it, and that it's creating unmanageability, or as I like to say, pain and suffering. So the admission of powerlessness and unmanageability over my thinking and my behaviors is a very important part of the process of me being free from whatever problem is going on, whatever that problem might be. So when they ask me who cares to admit complete defeat, do I care to admit complete defeat? No. I don't want to admit that I'm powerless. I don't want to admit that my life is unmanageable. I don't want to admit that my thinking is insane. I don't want to admit that some of the behaviors that I do is unmanageable. Nobody, no human wants to admit complete defeat. Nobody. And as long as I identify that is me, I will never admit complete defeat. I might admit that I have a problem, that this is creating some consequences. Yeah. That my drinking and or using, I'm just going to use that. My drinking and or using is creating some unmanageability or some problems in my life, whether it's a relationship problem, whether it's a legal problem, whatever it is, it's creating a problem. And so therefore I need to slow down, or I need to stop altogether what it is that I'm doing. And if it's drinking and using, we practice abstinence. And what tends to happen is that when I practice abstinence around that problem, things get better. So then, therefore, I take back the admission of complete defeat and go, okay, I got this now. Things are better. And I get back into running the show again. And so when they're asking me who cares to admit complete defeat, the ego doesn't care. The self, me, the thinker, doesn't care. That who, who cares to admit complete defeat, that who doesn't care. Ultimately, that who doesn't care. That person, that self, that false self, that me, that I, that mind, that I think I am, the way that I think, doesn't care. So when they ask me the question of who cares to admit complete defeat, it goes into practically no one. Because no one wants to. As long as I'm identified with myself, as long as I'm identified with who I think I am at that present moment, is not going to want to admit complete defeat. So it says, who cares to admit complete defeat? Practically no one, of course. And then they let us know why that's going to happen. Because every natural instinct, every God-given instinct is going to react. It goes on to say, it says, who cares to admit complete defeat? Practically no one, of course. Every natural instinct cries out against the idea of powerlessness. The powerlessness of my thinking. My instincts ain't gonna give it up. No matter how bad the consequences are, no matter how bad the situation might be, my ego, the who, the self, the false self, is not going to admit complete defeat. It will do whatever it has to do to get the heat off my back. I'll do whatever. Okay, yeah, you need me to go to therapy. Okay, yeah, well, you need me to go to treatment. Okay, yeah. You do whatever has to be done to get the heat off of us or you. But it's telling us that who cares to make complete defeat? Practically no one. Every natural instinct is going to cry out against the idea of personal powerlessness. Our ego, our identity as who we see ourselves, is never going to surrender that way. It's not going to happen. And then it goes on to say, it is truly awful to admit that we have warped our minds into such an obsession for destruction that only an act of providence can remove it from us. The only way that I'm going to be able to answer that question of who cares to admit complete defeat has to come from the recognition, the awareness, the attention that my thinking, my warped, obsessive, compulsive, repetitive thinking, that is not me. That is the false me. That is the egoic me. That is the me of the world. So the person that I see, the who cares to admit complete defeat, can't do it. It's got to go deeper than that. We have to go deeper than that. And in this first part of this discussion of who cares to admit complete defeat, I wanted to discuss how my false self, or the way that I see myself, or the way that I think, that first layer of admitting complete defeat is a good start. But if we're still identified with that who, that first who, this me, the self, the form self, the way that I think, my identity, the roles that I have, the labels that I believe that I have, the beliefs and values that I have, that me, the acknowledgement of all of it, it's warped. that all it does is just create more pain and suffering. That first admission or that first awareness is a beginning. It's a beginning, but there's more to it. The question of who cares to and I don't know if Bill and Bob even knew that it went deeper than that, than on the surface of just answering the question just by reading it. Who cares to admit complete defeat? On the surface, who cares to admit complete defeat? Okay, yeah, I might be defeated to some degree because of some of the unmanageabilities of my behavior, but there's more to it than that. So we have to go deeper than that. The who cares is deeper than what I think or what I see. So this is the first part of this series of who cares to make complete defeat, and I will go into a second part or part two of the deeper who cares, and not the surface who cares of what I think, but to go beyond thinking, to go into no thinking. So I hope that kicks up some discussion, some questions, gets you thinking in a different way or looking at things in a different way. It might even piss you off. Um, Good. And I hope that that helps. And I hope that you continue to follow us and share this and dig into this for your own recoveries in your own life. And thank you. Mahalo.